next move I want to cover is the low hand top roll. Okay, so the rest of them, the other movements were more dependent, especially the posting top roll, more dependent on keeping that radial flexion. So we're strong through here. We're not losing this. Okay, now we're doing the opposite. The low hand top roll. Okay, we're doing the opposite movement. So low hand top roll, I'll just do it by myself so they can see. We're here, same setup. Okay, so you're still setting up high. We'll cover how to set up low, but that's another video. Okay, setting up high, okay, you're still setting up just like the other top rolls, for the most part. Okay, you're still setting up for the most part like the other top rolls. With the low hand top roll, though, is what you're, it's used mostly, I like to think of it mostly as a countering and defensive weapon rather than an offensive weapon, but I'll show you how to use it as an offensive weapon. Okay, so meaning you don't generally set up, let me have Kevin's hand here, you don't set up, generally speaking, in a low hand position. The reason being, let's say he comes up over his thumb, look at the lever, I have a serious leverage problem now, okay? And it's very difficult to get your hand back to here, which of course wouldn't be your idea anyway if you're starting in the low hand position, okay? But there's not a lot of advantages starting in the low hand position. I'll mention them in a moment. But if I'm here, Kepa's move is of course going to be to come right up over me. Yeah. So I mean, like from the get-go, he's got a huge leverage advantage. If I'm even way stronger than he is, and I go to pull back, he doesn't need much. Because I can feel it right there. He doesn't need much to kind of come over. Okay. So for low hand top roll, okay. Same grip, we're coming up. Here's how it looks, and then we'll get into the specifics. Okay, so we're still starting the same way. Like I said, not for an offensive weapon, but I still have to show you how to do it. Okay, the movement would be this: stay high. You've got high pressure. Okay, as you go for the move, like I said, it's used to me. This is the way I use it. I use it as a countering tool. Okay, so if he goes to hook from there, I bring up the lower part of my hand. Now, the important thing is I've seen this done wrong a million times. You don't start low on the hand. You don't start with your wrist any lower. You think, just like you were going for those other top rolling movements, you start with as much pressure high as you can. That's where you want to attack because you're stronger there no matter what. Okay? You attack the person until they go into a press or a hook. When they go to do that, that's exactly when you bust out that low hand top roll. Okay, so we can just do a press on this one. 1, 2, 3. We start high, right? We're pulling back, and he decides to press. Low hand top roll. We're coming in over the hand. We continue that motion and rotate through. We'll do the exact same thing with hook. Now you've already seen this somewhere. Kev and I are here. Same thing. We're starting high. Let's say I'm starting with a post and top roll. He turns to a hook. I turn to the low hand top roll. Okay, so on 1, 2, 3, go, bam. I hit high. He decides to hook. Comes in. I go low hand top roll. I come up over and go for the pin. So that's the most important thing about the low hand top roll. Just think of it as a kind of a counter tool. Let me show you from the other side, and I'll get into some specifics about the low hand top roll. Okay, so before we move on with any more low hand top roll details, I wanted to show it from the other side, just so you know what we're talking about. So once again, just with just my hand, okay, the low hand top roll basically would be this. Simple, okay? But you're still keeping your wrist, your fingers as high as you can. You're not bringing them down. That totally changes how much pressure you can produce. So if your hand is really high, there's a lot more room coming up, basically, is the best way I can put it. Okay, so low hand top roll without any, just looking at it this way would be basically this movement and then continuing that motion over. Now we'll do the same two examples from this side that we did just in a minute ago. Kev and I are here. We're going to hit high. So setting up for, let's just say I set up for a top roll. Let's say he set up for a top roll. Okay, we start out here. 1, 2, 3, bam, we hit high, and he decides to go for a press, and I low hand top roll. Okay, there might be a little bit of hooking there too, okay, but the basic movement that I did to get that effect was that motion. As he goes to hook or press, if he goes to hook, his hand will turn upside down anyway, okay? If he goes to press, his fingers will come up, and that's exactly where I want the pressure, okay? Is as he goes to do a movement, I put pressure on the little fingers, keep that bow in my wrist. So as you can see, the low hand top roll, bam, also kind of becomes a hook. Immediately, right? You're bam, and then you're hooking, you kind of rotate it in, suddenly you're kind of posting and you're still pronating and kind of rolling through. So several things come into play when you're doing that low hand top roll, okay? So let's go to the back of the other side and I'll get us some details here. Low hand top roll is an offensive weapon. So let's say you're setting up. Now, like I said, it's a great counter weapon, and you can turn to it instantly. I mean, when someone goes for the move that you're thinking about, you counter it with the low hand top roll. I like to think of it as secondary. As an attack weapon, here we go. If you know your opponent is not going to pull outside. They're coming inside no matter what. They're going to hook. They're coming through your hand. They're going to hook, or they're going to press through your hand. You can set up with a low hand top roll, so you're already putting pressure on some of those fingers, okay? We're here, Kevin and I are setting up. Same thing, I want to get pressure, so I'm going to get good thumb position. I'm going to come all the way around. I'm going to get just as high, okay? Just as high as before, okay? Okay, and then I'm turning my wrist down. So I didn't come low and then turn my wrist. So you feel the difference there? So if I come really high, same thing. I'm up here just where I was if I was posting top roll, okay? I'm up high. My elbow is up on the top left-hand corner. I'm posted. Okay, so I'm pulling back this way. Okay, and then before we start, I'm setting up at the low hand position. That's totally legal. Okay, that's totally legal. As long as my thumbs are showing, I can set up low. And the ref's going to say, are you sure you want to set up that low? And you go, yeah, I'm sure. You have to know what you're doing at that point, okay? I don't suggest setting up in this low hand position without the strap, okay? So if we're here and I set up really low, now Kepa's move is for anybody would be to, like we're trying to keep him from pressing or hooking, okay? So you can see how much more difficult it is, right? If I set up in that low hand position, it doesn't feel very comfortable to try to press or hook, right? I'm committed to come this way. Okay, so at that point, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to pull back this way and roll through your fingers. But setting up offensively that way, the problem is if Kepa decides to top roll me and come where I don't expect him, and come up and over, because like I said, I'm pulling back. So I've already committed to going back. He already knows that. He changes his move. Let's say you don't press or hook, even though I set up to counter that. He decides instead he's going to still keep his high grip. He's going to go through. My leverage is dead. That's why I don't suggest setting up a low hand top roll without it, because if he switches to a high top roll, okay, and goes to pull, if I'm really low, I have no leverage, I have nothing, okay? But if I know he's going to hook and I know he's going to press and that's all he's got, setting up for the low hand can be an effective tool, especially as a last-ditch thing to pull somebody, okay? Let me show it in the strap just so you can kind of get the idea, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so setting up for the low hand top roll is an offensive weapon in the straps. Now, I just kind of suggested this as something, if you're going to use the low hand top roll as an offensive weapon, I think it's too risky to use without the strap. With the strap, it's a totally different thing, okay? If we're tight through here, let's say Kepa's going to press or he's going to hook. Like I said, that's one of the primary movements, okay? And if he's strongest there and it's a big-time match, if I set up for the low hand, you feel the difference there? Yeah. Suddenly, I have more control. I have a little more wrist control. I have not necessarily more pressure on the fingers, but I have more overall control. So as we start, 1, 2, 3, go. Any kind of press or hook, I can really keep it at bay with a low hand starting position. So that forces you into basically into top rolling me, right? So if I kind of set up low, your move would be to come as high as you could, come over your fingers, and then dump me that way, right? But setting up for low hand top roll, if someone's consistently hooking you or pressing you and you know that's what's going to happen, that's a great tool to use, especially if you have the strap. 1, 2, 3, go. Boom. And you're just going to stay rotated and just ratchet out, and your leverage is actually really good in that position. Top roll, one other kind of generic style of top roll is a defensive top roll, okay? So this is what it would look like. It's a great counter to the press, okay? That's a great counter to the press. So Kepa will do a press, and I'll show you how it works. We're here, it doesn't matter. Let's just say I was setting up for a posting top roll, okay? I'm just kind of turned in. I don't know what he's going to do. Let's say he presses me. 1, 2, 3, go. Defensive top roll, okay? You're going to lay back. Keep this angle tight and try to stay on top of his hand. Okay, a little bit of downward pressure, and then I'm just going to stay here. As he presses in, I'm already it's almost like a low hand top roll position. Okay, but defensive top roll, like a generic defensive top roll, as he presses, boom, I'm here. Even if he gets me to here, right? Yeah, this is still defensive top roll. I'm up here and I'm still trying to get back pressure and rotation. Back pressure, rotation, all at the same time, a little bit of dragging and come through. But defensive top rolling's like that. As an offensive weapon, okay, as its name implies, it's more of a defensive weapon, but that doesn't mean you can't use it as an offensive weapon. Now, here's what I mean. Michael Todd, I've mentioned his name several times in this video. He's the best defensive arm wrestler, okay? That's his primary move, defensive top roll, okay? So he's going to set up, same thing, front of the pad, he gets himself down. Don't get me wrong, he has all kinds of other moves. He's got presses and hooks and everything else, but the defensive top roll, if you ever watch him arm wrestle, is kind of his primary move, okay? So, 1, 2, 3, go back, and then he actually takes it to the extreme. And this is what I wanted to show you when I said there's different versions of defensive top rolls. Okay, he gets here, his elbow's still on the pad. Okay, he's getting really low, and he keeps his arm almost all the way straight. As Kepa comes down, I just try to maintain rotation, but it actually puts a lot of pressure through the fingers, right? Oh, yeah. And it's actually kind of a savvy move. And from there, this is, like I said, this is extreme, okay? But these are all, like I said, you see me there? These are all versions of defensive top rolls, okay? Regardless of what position I'm here, okay? But from that other position there, it's a transitionary move too. What Michael Todd would do from there is come up. He's going to try to get behind his arm, okay? He's going to use back pressure, or he's going to turn in and try to press the arm down from there. So defensive top rolling looks just like that. I'll show it from the other side. Okay, so just defensive top rolling from the other side. Like I said, there's similarities to all these movements. They're all based on rotation and back pressure. Okay, no matter what kind of top roll they are, they're all based on rotation and back pressure. Rotation, back pressure, wrist strength too. Okay, so I'll just show an example here. So Kepa and I arm wrestle. The defensive top roll, like I said, it's a great counter to a pressing movement. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, go. On go, that would be your defensive top roll. If that was what, like I said, it's a great counter. Okay, but it's still going to be an offensive weapon. Okay, same thing as a counter. I think it works best. If he goes to press 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, I'm just laying back, trying to keep this angle tight. Okay, keep rotated, keep my arm all the way. I'm all the way pronated. I can't pronate more. Okay, even though my wrist is in this position, okay, and I'm just holding here, and I'm trying to let him get tired. I'm not trying to wrench this way, okay? If anything, I'm using a little bit of back pressure, okay, trying to maintain my position, and he's going to slowly get tired, okay? And when he starts to get tired, I'll just continue that back pressure, and then just kind of rotate through, tiny bit of side pressure, and then finish, okay? Counters for outside arm wrestling techniques, meaning we're countering top rolling. Okay, so counters for that, remember, when someone's doing an outside move, they're committed to pulling with their arm or their lat or their entire body outside, away from you. He's pulling away. Okay, a great way to think about countering is go with his movement by pressing. Okay, so countering posting. We covered posting very specifically. Kepa and I are here. We're right in the middle of the table. Now, as we said before, you get that initial grip, you put a little bit of back pressure in there, okay? You're feeling here, and you feel, you know what, this guy's really strong. And you know, just by the way, this is why I wanted to mention it over and over. If he's posting hard, he's putting a lot of pressure up through here, he's almost for sure going that way. On go, it's going to continue, right? Whether it's movement, whatever it tries to do, I know he's going that way. If that's the case, it's better for you not to just think, oh, well, I need to do the opposite. Yeah. If you can tell he's really strong through here and your movement is to go, okay, on go, I need to go 1, 2, 3, go. I'm going to fight that. Exactly. That's the opposite of what I'm trying to teach you. Okay? That's the wrong move. Okay? If you're way stronger than he is in that position, you continue the motion. He's supposed to, he has to change to get back in the match or win the match. Okay? So we're countering the post, countering posting strength by pressing. So Kepa and I are here, we're pulling up high. Okay, like I said, on go, if he starts to kind of pull back, remember, I might say, okay, you know what, before the ref starts the match, I'm going to set up for a press. Because I can come to the table ready to do a posting top roll on Kepa. Okay, let's just say that's the plan. I never met the guy. Okay, we come up here, I'm setting up, I can tell right away this guy's stronger than me here. He's already starting to pull my wrist away. So it would be wrong of me to try to go against that and do my move anyway. So you can quickly go, you know what? I'm going to pull my elbow back. I'm going to press this guy. If I know he's going up this way, up over his head, I'm going to deliver pressure right through this way and press. Even if I can't get him all the way down on go, you can post high. I'll just press 1, 2, 3, go. And then from there, if nothing else, I have your arm out of position. Okay, and then from there you can do all kinds of different motions in that pressing position. Okay, so think of that as two things that work together. Remember, he's going up and outside in the post. I'm coming inside in the press, and those things counter each other. So think of that as somebody's coming up and high here, somebody's going up, pulling back really strong. I always think about pressing them as a counter. A great counter for the posting top roll. Okay, so if somebody's using a posting top roll against you, okay, they're coming up through your fingers, they're coming up and over. Okay, great way to counter that is with a high hook, with a side hit. Okay, so Kepa's going to do the posting top roll. I'm going to show you the high hook. Okay, all that's doing is I'm changing his arm position. What I don't want is for him to be able to continue that driving hammer curl strength where he's coming up and over. I need to change his arm position to where that power is not going away. The power is kind of lost in space, okay? So what I'm going to do is a high hook and hit to the side. We showed those different hits when we were talking about hooking. This is going this way. All the pressure is going this way. Okay, so we'll set up. Kepa's going for the posting top roll. I sense it. I can feel it. I've seen him do it to other guys. I go, you know what? I'm going to hit him with a high hook. That's the way I'm going to do it, with a side hit. Okay, so this is a great way to counter the posting top roll. You're coming in. Remember, you can always change very quickly with your stance. So if you set up for one movement, okay, you can very quickly, okay, slightly make an adjustment to where you know you can do your hook. Because if you know you're going to change, you got to move your body a little bit. And always remember that. Okay, so I'm going to go, you know what? He's got too much for me here. I can tell he's as strong as I thought. He's going to come up and over. And I'm not going to fight him on that. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do a high hook. Okay, so on 1, 2, 3, I'll show you how it looks. We'll just do slow motion. 1, 2, 3, go. So as he tries to go bam up through here, I'm just changing his angle. Okay, and from there you can continue into the hook. Okay, continue that motion if you can. Okay, but the most important thing is already done. I just stopped your move. From there, like I said, you can change your movements. You can do a top roll variation from there, or you could hook. You can do different things. Okay, here's that posting top roll counter from the other side. Remember, we're doing the high hook with the side hit. So once again, if I sense Kepa's got too much pressure, I know he's a posting top roll. And like I said, that's the cool thing about arm wrestling, and I say cool because most of your opponents are one-dimensional. They got 1 or 2 moves, 2 moves at most for the most part. And if you know what their moves are, you just counter their moves, right? So that's the idea. He's going to do the posting top roll. I'll show you how to hit it with a high hook. Okay, so I'm setting up. Let's say I set up for that posting top roll. Let's say I was going to try that on him. He's setting up for the posting top roll, and automatically I go, I get it. He's got more than me here. He's too strong. Okay, so I would change my grip a little bit, and I think, I got to do my high hook. I adjust my body a little bit so I'm comfortable with my hook position. And that's all before the go. On 1, 2, 3, go. I'm going to hit as hard as I can in this direction. I'm going to wrist flex as hard as I can, high up through his hand. I'm not going for that low hook. I'm going for a high hook. I want to adjust his hand and make it move as much as I can. And from there, like I said, continue with the hook, okay? Or you can top roll all the way down. To the posting top roll is just a straight press. Now I already mentioned that a counter to posting strength is pressing strength. So the same thing goes for a posting top roll. A press is a great way to counter. Okay, that goes for both types of pressing, straight pressing and flop wrist pressing. They can both be really effective. Obviously, I think the dead wrist press in the strap is much more effective. Okay, but Kepa's going to go for a posting top roll. I'm just going to press, and so remember, we got to get a little bit of angle. I'm not going straight here. He's already going up this way. I don't want to put him. I don't want to get him here. I want to change the angle of his arm. So as he tries to go up, I'm pressing through his arm to change the direction. Okay, that's what it's going to look like from here. So I'm here. I sense he's got too much here. He's going to come over in that posting top roll. I can tell. I decide, you know what, I'm going to press. He's already going this way. I know it. He's putting all this pressure up here. He's already setting up his body to go back. Okay, I need to get his arm somewhere in this direction. That's the idea. Okay, so I don't need to worry about everything else. I'm going to drop my hand a little bit. I'm going to come low because I got to be in a position where I feel like I can push him, and regardless of where I put my hand. Okay, and the lower I put my hand, the good thing about this, the lower I put my hand, the more it encourages him to come up and over my arm, which is exactly what I want. I'm trying to chase him outside. Okay, so I'm putting my hand really low. I'm leaving driving space on the pad. The adjustments here, if I'm really close and pulling back, I can't press. Okay, I can still keep connection, but I got to position my body where I can push all my direction here, not setting up so I'm pulling this way. There has to be one or the other. I got to commit. So I'm going to turn in for a press. So as he's going to do the posting top roll, I'm going to press at an angle right outside of his shoulder here. Okay, I can almost come into his shoulder. I don't want to come into the center of his body. Okay. That's coming right into his power. Okay, so he's going to try posting top roll. 1, 2, 3, go. Straight press, straight wrist. Like I said, that's kind of the same as the high hook, except there's no hooking. Okay, the wrist is out of his arms out of position. Okay, and from there, transition to a top roll. Okay, so we'll show it from the other side. Okay, so press as a counter to the posting top roll from the other side. Okay, so same thing. Now you can see my body commitment a little bit better on this side, which is what I like. Okay, Kevin and I are here. He's setting up for the posting top roll. Okay, I know that's what he's going to do. I'm going to counter him with a press, right? Straight press. Okay, the grip, like you said, like I showed you, is a little bit lower. Okay, I want to feel like I can push him as hard as possible. If I don't have a good grip, okay, I can't really do it. I got to get my hand, and I have to feel around. Anytime I'm doing that, I feel the person, and I feel, okay, what's the best grip? I kind of get a grip on their bones here in their wrist. Okay. And like I said, with him having a higher grip, that's exactly what I want because it's encouraging him to come up and over. He's certainly not going to try to come below me in this position. Okay. Okay, leaving some room on the pad. As you can see, since I'm driving, I can't start up in the upper left-hand corner. I got to start down here. I'm driving. Okay, depending on how you feel, I say drive kind of up into his shoulder, a little bit past. You're trying to get the arm, just like the high hook. You're trying to get it out of his power zone, not into it. Right. His power would be here. I'm trying to get it outside of that. Okay, so that's the idea with the press. It would be, he's setting up 1, 2, 3, go. I'm just straight pressing through. If I can continue that motion, sometimes it can turn into a flop. Okay, or if I can stop him, I can quickly transition to a hooking motion or a can opener type top roll from there.